minute. You know, um, you might know about this, but I was in Boston. I spent 4 years in Boston when I age was college student age, and it was from '96 to 2000. I was in Boston, and honestly, I was really poor in academic at the time. So, you know, I literally lived in Boston, but, you know, across the river, there's a university called Harvard, but I've never been to Harvard, and I just saw the Harvard, and oh, this Harvard looks nice, and then, you know, I just lived 4 years, you know, having nothing to do with Harvard, but after 14 years, who knew I came back here? I came back to Boston to make a speech in Harvard. Isn't life beautiful? So, basically, you might know me only with the song called Gangnam Style. And so I knew, like, some of you know me as an artist or as a singer, or they are using the quotation called South Korea rap sensation, whatever. But you know, some of you, like, except Koreans, every people around the world, you know, some of them, they are, you know, assuming me as like a comedian or something. Yeah. So before the Gangnam Style, I want to tell you why did I make Gangnam Style, and I should tell you about the past before the Gangnam Style. Wow, this is great because when I'm doing, like, you know, 30-minute gig in, you know, like a lot of countries, when I started to say, because, you know, when I do the 30-minute gig, I only cannot do Gangnam Style like 5-6 times, right? I gotta do something else. And that's what the promoters expect me to bring me in, having a 30-minute gig. So I'm asking them, like, oh, really? 30 minutes? What should I do without Gangnam Style? And he's saying, like, hey, we heard that, you know, you've been a singer for more than a decade, and you should have some songs. Yeah, I have a song. But can I, and may I, and, like, is the audience okay with that? And he's like, oh, they're gonna love it. But when I, you know, step into the stage, and, you know, I gotta explain them, because when I step into the stage, like, you know, for example, Australia last February, there were some, you know, shows called Future Music Festival, and it was like electronic music festival. And you know what that kind of festival is all about? You know, they are like half naked, and, you know, it's like 19 over show, and they were literally, you know, drunk, and, you know, they are expecting something dynamic. So when I step into the stage, they're like, you know, oh, yeah, oh. So, you know, like hundreds of thousands of people, half naked, you know, dynamic people, they are like doing all that, oh. But in front of them, I gotta say the same thing that I just told you. I gotta tell you about my past before Gangnam Style. And they are saying, like, no! So the reason why I'm telling you this right now, this was the first reaction that I said, I'm gonna tell you the past before Gangnam Style. And this was the first time such a calm reaction, and I'm cheering. So, I heard that I'm the first guy, I'm the first person who's making a speech at Harvard without script. So they were, oh, thank you. So when I step into this church, the back door of the church, a lot of colleagues, of your university asked me, so can we have the script? And I said, no. They were like, really? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, they didn't say why, but their face was like, why? So the reason why I don't have script is, I'm not here to make something academic or educational. I'm just here to tell you about my experience. And as you all know, the past 7-8 months of my experience, that's, if we call it in positive way, it's very special experience. And so, if I'm telling you about my experience, some of you may, accept that maybe academically. So maybe some of you, but most of you gonna say after every speech is done, was it? What was it? What was he saying? So think it that way. So what I heard was, until today, you guys were in, what was it called? Reading day? Right? And today's the end of the reading day, right? So, end of the reading day, you're facing Psy, and so I call it the situation right now we are facing. I'm not gonna call it end of the reading day, but I would like to call this the beginning of streaking. So, let me tell you my personal thing briefly. I was born in Korea in 1977, and yeah, I know I'm young. So I was, in Asia. There are really strong tradition that sons gotta inherit their family business if they have a family business. So unfortunately, I was the only son among entire my whole family. I was the only son. So my grandfather founded the business, and my father boosted the business. And since when I was born, they were looking at me and they are saying, it's your turn. But they, started to keep frustrating what I've done, academically and so on. So what I tried to do was, I don't want to be, the business is, semiconductor equipment thing. So, they are expecting me to do that semiconductor equipment thing for 20 years. They keep telling me, you gotta do a semiconductor. So, after elementary school, middle school, high school, I gotta find a way to avoid from the comment, keep telling me I gotta do the semiconductor. So I started to convince them that I want to be a bigger person, I want to be a better person, and I want to be a wider person and wiser person. So if you allow, I want to study abroad. I want to study business like you want. So can I? And he was like, oh, finally you became my son. So I graduated from high school, and then I applied Boston University, and that's why I came to the United States for the first time, and that was 1996, and I was at called School of Management, and I've been lived in Warren Towers, but like I told you, I graduated high school in Korea, and I just came to the United States, so I don't know how to say a single word in English. So what I could say at that time was, like worldwide English, like such as taxi, bus, and diamond or something. So let me tell you some funny stories. So the second day of my arrival in the United States, I happened to be met by severe diarrhea. But, that was my second day in the United States. So I don't know how to express diarrhea. How can I know diarrhea? That was my second day in the United States. The 3 words I only know was taxi, bus, diamonds. So, I went to the pharmacy. I literally ran into the pharmacy. Because it was urgent, and I ran into the pharmacy, and I talked to her, and she looked very calm, with a white dress, very calm, and I asked her, and my pronunciation at that time was not like this, because I just came from Korea 2 days ago, so I was like, excuse me. She was asking like, yes, may I help you? And I said, yes, help me. Seconds each other, and then she said like, okay, so how can I help you? So I talked to her. I have a problem. And she said, okay. And I said, but I was urgent, and she was so calm, and I was like, ma'am, I have a problem, and it's a big problem. There was like another pause for 5 seconds, and she said like, may I ask you what is the problem? And I was like hesitating for 10-15 more seconds, and I was so desperate. I gotta buy that medicine immediately. So what I talked to her was, I had a watershed. After that happened, she gave me the medicine immediately. And she was laughing, and what she told me was, I think you gotta run. So that was the second day in the United States, and I learned English by that way. So, and but you know, after that, I did that kind of thing a lot, you know. So, because I don't know how to speak English, so you know, like we call it body language, right? And, you know, but the reason why I'm telling you this is, you know, with the Gangnam Style, what do you know about the lyrics? Without sexuality. So I was so shocked because, you know, I honestly never expected or never dreamed to be something international to myself. I never expected that kind of thing. And honestly, I was happy enough in my country. So, and you know, but the funny thing was, people in Korea, they've known me as an artist for 12 years, but no one knew that I can speak English. And they never assume I can speak English. And what they are saying to me was, you don't look like you are, you know, capable of speaking English. What does it look like? So it was the same thing, you know. We have the word diarrhea, but watership works, right? So when I do the Gangnam Style, I didn't mean anything or I didn't do anything intentionally, but you know, when I wrote this song, like United States and like all over the world, last summer, it was last July, and in my country as well, economic was so bad and so poor, and everybody was so frustrated. So as a 12-year-old artist, I thought this time my only job and my only goal is to make them laugh by music, by choreograph, and by music video. So I literally tried my best to be as ridiculous as possible. That's what I tried with the Gangnam Style. So, you know, but I have a Korean label, the company is called YG, and they have a boy band called Big Bang and girl band. And because of them, because they have a lot of, such as, they have a lot of overseas fan bases, so the company, they are, you know, uploading their artist video on YouTube. So they never expected me, something happening in YouTube, but they are just doing it because it's their job. So someone in the company, they asked me like, Sai, we're gonna upload a video on YouTube. And I said, why? And she's saying like, oh, because Big Bang's uploading the video, 21's uploading the video, every artist of our company is uploading the video at YouTube. And I said like, oh, was it? Really? And okay, if you want, you can, and I don't mind. So they upload the video. And I'm thinking these days, what if she didn't do her job? That was kind of mandatory thing. She uploaded the video at the YouTube. So, but you know, she might skip that because we never expected anything in YouTube. So if she just did her job and we upload the video, and like first, like 1 month, all the comments were all in Koreans. So I, you know, just visited the site like, you know, once a week and like, there's some traffic, okay? But not that much, okay? But after 2 weeks, and 2 weeks later, I saw some English like comments and some Arabic comments, some French comments, Portuguese comments. I even cannot read. Are they saying something good or bad? I don't know. There were a lot of different languages like coming in. So I was like, wow. So after that moment until now, the only word I keep saying to myself about this kind of unrealistic situation, the only thing I'm saying is, WTF. This is so unrealistic. So at YouTube, so I remember the time in Korea, I had a hardest, biggest party with my friends when I got 10 million views. I was like, wow, did you hear about 10 million views? I'm the guy. And I partied hard to celebrate 10 million views. After that 10 million views, that thing, like W something thing, it's like started to happen like, once in 2 days, For example, like Katy Perry tweeted my video, and Britney Spears tweeted my video, Tom Cruise tweeted my video, Robbie Williams tweeted my video, and T-Pain tweeted my video. And T-Pain's, besides T-Pain's, adding a lot of cute emoticons, horses, They say, oh, wow. So, of course I knew Katy Perry, Britney Spears, Tom Cruise, T-Pain, but they are tweeting my video, and I'm just done with that hanging over after that 10 million view party. They started to tweet, like, really? Why they are doing, why? And they are like, obsessed, hilarious, they are saying. But I don't know the meaning of the word obsessed or hilarious, so is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is it? So, we have Google Translator, right? So, got that. And so, that happened like that. And you might know the guy named Scooter Braun, who is my manager and who is manager of Justin Bieber, Kali Ray, and The Wanted. And he called me, like, from LA to Korea. And of course I can speak Korean, but no, of course I can speak English, but yeah, I can speak Korean. And so after year of 2000, I stopped speaking English for 13, 14 years, and the guy called me and was like, it's called 여보세요, which means hello. It's like, 여보세요. And he's like, are you Psy? What means what? I was like, whoa. He was like, are you Psy? Yeah, I answered him like, I think I am. And I asked him, who are you? And he said, my name is Scooter Braun. Who? Scooter Scooter Braun. Scooter? Is that name of you or your hobby or what? He said, I'm a manager of Justin Bieber. But you know, I thought it was like, you know, wrong number or I thought he was not the guy. Why manager of Justin Bieber make a phone call to me? So I was like, hey, if you are Justin Bieber's manager, I'm Justin Bieber, what are you talking about? And, alright, give me your address, I'll send you a picture of proof. Alright, send me a picture of proof. You, Justin, standing together, look very familiar. Come on, send me the picture. I gave him the email address and he sent me the email address and I saw the picture. He was like, we literally, everybody was like, and I called him really politely. So, you know, first time I like, what, Scooter, is that hot or something? And then, you know, like, second time I called him like, do all the respect, you know? May I talk to? And it was like, the first thing he asked me was, he wanna buy the copyright of the song so that he can make a remix with Justin or Usher, I don't know. That was the first thing he asked me. I was like, really? Oh my God, really? You wanna buy the copyright? And he was like, yes. And it was kind of embarrassing, but I asked him the second question. How much? And he laughed out and he was like, can you fly over to LA? I was like, yeah. I'll be there ASAP. And you know, I fly the next day to LA and in the backyard of his house there were Scooter Braun and Usher and Justin Bieber.
Wow.
I was like, the same thing. WT. And they were all doing, wow, it's him. Ooh. You know how beautiful Usher is when he smiles, right? It's so beautiful, you know, wow. So right after that, we had a conversation, but Scooter didn't know that I can speak English. So my English was better than what I thought. So, and he was like, you're pretty much funny in English. I was like, am I? Because, you know, while I'm speaking right now, you know, your laughing point is kind of different from my country. So, you know, when I'm intentionally saying something to make fun, you are so calm. And, you know, if I'm saying something, but I didn't mean anything to make fun, but where you're like, oh, I was like, so, for example, when I was at LA show to make Britney Spears like surprising dance lesson, that was my first appearance in national TV of the United States, and I was so nervous. That was first time ever being on national TV of US, and it was live, and it was with Britney, and she doesn't know I'm there, so I was hiding all day long, sneezing all day long, and they are saying like, hey, Britney doesn't know you are here. I was like, okay. I did that for like 7-8 hours. there with Simon Cowell to promote the X Factor, the premiere of the X Factor. So she didn't expect having a dance time, so she literally dressed up really classy dress that was pink, dressy skirts, and it was like really tight skirts. And she didn't think about anything. She's gonna dance that show. So I just came out, and so she was like having so hard time, dress was so tight, and her heel was so high, so she was like, oh. And so what I told her and told the people, because she were so classy, so what I told her was, the theme of the dance and song is, dress classy and dance cheesy. So that was the thing. But they were like, when I said like, the theme of the song is dress classy and dance cheesy, and they were like, wow. I was like, is this funny? And besides, they were laughing out loud, but this time you were calm, right? When I said dress classy dance cheesy, and you were like, I don't know, it's so random. So, when I met the scooter, and he offered me very strange, very weird, but genius piece of the idea. So the first thing I asked him was, all right, though, so should I, so I'm asking him like, so you still want to buy the copyright of the song? But he found out some concert footage at YouTube while I'm flying, and he was like, hey, how many people was that? And I was like, what people? And he was like, in your concert in Korea. Oh, you saw that? Yeah. It was like 30,000, 40,000. What is the population of your country? It's 50 million. And he was like, oh, why don't we sign? Really? And he was like, yeah, with the Gangnam Style. And I asked him, the first thing was, should I translate the lyrics in English? If I try hard, maybe I can rap in English. And here comes the genius idea of him. And I was so lucky to meet him, because what he told me was, hey, Sai, if you rap it in English, we already have it a lot, and most of them, they are better than you. But if you rap in Korean in United States, you are the number one. That's what he told me. I was like, oh, so you want to keep the lyrics in Korean? And she's like, yes. Then, but people gonna having a very hard time when they're listening to the song. So what we talked about was, so the funny thing is, when I perform the Gangnam Style and the new single German these days all over the world, and they don't have any idea what I'm talking about. They're like, yeah, Sana, and they are waiting all over until sexy ladies come, and they're like, Sana, and oh, sexy ladies go like, sexy lady. So that was, isn't that amazing? I mean, you don't know the lyrics and you don't know the single word of Korean, but I'm so glad, because when I do the performance, the crowd doesn't know what the lyrics is about, but they look so happy. So they gotta listen to the lyrics, but when I do the Gangnam Style in Korean, but they don't know what the word means, but they're like, so, I think there were something beyond the language. I think there were. I didn't realize that time because at that time I was so shocked every day. But yes, there was something beyond the language. So we can assume it music, but that's so boring answer. So something beyond language is music. Music makes everyone